Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to get into the topic of imbalances. We're going to talk about what an imbalance is. It's also called an FVG or an inefficiency. Anyways, let's get right into it. So an imbalance is basically something where the market attracts to like a magnet. Now, if that doesn't really make a lot of sense, let me explain to you. Let's say the market is bullish. The market wants to come back to this area. Why? Because this area contains what we call imbalance. There's an inefficiency within the price here that the market wants to fill. You can kind of see it as if there's a gap literally in price, as if price is here and then here, and it wants to continue down and it wants to continue building that bridge downwards, but it cannot because there's no stable foundation because there is a gap over here. So what do we need to do? We need to climb back up. We need to make sure that gap gets filled, otherwise our foundation becomes unstable, and that's when we can continue downwards. So it's essentially a gap that needs to be filled. An imbalance, therefore, kind of works like a magnet. The market kind of attracts back to the imbalance, works like a magnet, and then reacts off of that. So it gives us a good idea where the market might get a response or might get a reaction. So a good example of what an imbalance is, let me go down here, is basically when the market does not connect its wicks. So let me draw that out for you. Let's say you have a candlestick, right? That candlestick has wicks. Let's say you have a candlestick right after that. That candlestick also has wicks. Let's say you have another candlestick after that, and that candle also has wicks. So it looks something like this. We can see that we are bearish based on these three candles, but we also see that the candles have wicks. Now let's say we have a candlestick or three candlesticks that have really small wicks like this. And we have that 3 times in a row. We are now talking about what we call an imbalance. Now, where does that come from? Okay, let's go back to what we see here. And let's extend all of our candlesticks to the right. So the highest and the lowest point of these candlesticks. What you see is that all of these candlesticks are able to touch each other. There's not a single candlestick that is not able to touch another candlestick. As you can see, the candlestick of candle number 1 is able to touch candlestick number 3 over here. The candle wick of candle number 1 is also able to basically, if I were to draw it out, touch number 3 all the way over here. Same with candlestick number 2. The wick is able to touch the wick of the third candle. And the wick here is able to touch the wick of the third candle as well. Now, if we go to the right side and we try and extend those, we see that, for example, the first wicks, the candlesticks, the first wicks are not able to touch the wicks of the third candle. So these candlesticks, these wicks, don't come anywhere near the third candlestick's wicks. So that right there, that spot in between is what we call an imbalance. It's a gap within the price, basically. It's something that we cannot fill. Once again, if we go back over here, this is able to touch the wick of the third candle, and this right here is not. So let's see what that looks like in the live market. Let's grab a few examples. Over here, for example, let's go back. We see that price is continuously able to touch each other. Let's say we take 3 candles over here. Let's say we take these 3 candles. All of these candlesticks wicks are able to touch the other one, right? There's really no doubt about that these candlesticks can all touch each other and all get in each other's vicinity. Even more over here, for example, let's say we take this batch of candles. You can see that all of the wicks over here, they are all able to touch each other. There's really no doubt about that. However, if we go to the right over here, we now see a bunch of candles that are moving downwards aggressively. And if I try to connect candle number 1 here, and I try to connect candle number 3 here, I'm going to have a really hard time, because there's no way that candle number 1 and candle number 3 are going to get close to each other. So the spot that we have in between is what we call an imbalance, or an FVG is also what people like to call it. So whenever that happens, that usually means that the market wants to come back to that area and fill that imbalance. So it's very likely that the market's going to react off of it. You see that that imbalance gets filled. Now let's see if we have a couple examples. For example, over here, right? Let's say we have this piece of price action. At first, the candlesticks, they were able to touch each other. These 3 candles, they were all able to reach each other's wicks. Same here, all these wicks, they're all aligned. They can all touch each other. However, then the market starts to move downwards in a very impulsive manner. So if I now try to connect, for example, candle number 1 and candle number 3 over here, I'm going to have a really hard time because they do not touch. So there's an imbalance in there as well. So that is what we call an inefficiency. So what you'll see is that the market basically tries to come back and fill that inefficiency. Let's say we have candle number 1, candle number 2, candle number 3, and candle number 4. Now let's say I want to connect candle number 1 and I want to connect candle number 4. I notice that that's not going to happen. Why? Well, because this entire spot here basically doesn't have any wicks that allow me to fill it in. So what does price want to do? Price comes back to that imbalance, fills it pretty much perfectly, and then continues downwards. And that is what an inefficiency in the market is. Okay, another example. See, we have candle number 1 here. Let's say we have candle number 3 down here. They do not touch. The wicks do not touch. And let me replay for you so you can see it more clearly. These wicks are not able to touch each other, obviously, right? So what we have in between is what we call an imbalance. So what's going to happen? Price is going to come back to that, fill that imbalance, and then continue its downwards motion. That is what an imbalance is in trading. That is what an imbalance is in price. Price is attracted to an imbalance like a magnet. And if you have any questions about this, if it's still unclear, reach out to me on Discord. I'll make sure to help you out in chat. No charges whatsoever. I want to make sure that you understand what an imbalance is. It's a fairly simple concept. If you're having a hard time learning how to use an imbalance, make sure to add the indicator FVG by Nephew Sam, and it'll help you out with identifying the imbalance. Anyways, that's it for today's video. A fairly simple concept. Let me know if you understood it. If you have any questions, like I said, reach out to me on Discord. If you want to check out the strategy that I use, check out the link down below. It's free to download. I thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you found it useful. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.